We're broadcasting here from the CSIR, and I must say it's always an interesting place to be. And CSIR is currently conducting a technology assessment and driver experience of electric vehicles. I don't know if you remember, I remember very, very well the last time we were broadcasting from here. They had these electric vehicles that we had the pleasure of sitting in and actually driving. They're one of the most incredible things to sit in. You don't know whether it's on or off, and that's a bit scary, I have to tell you. So when you look at them, it's great. And we hope one day on our roads, that's what we're going to all be driving, are these magnificent cars, and especially Tesla. I don't know why we don't have them as yet, but maybe it's just because we are not ready for them, but hopefully that's the way we are going. So 10 vehicles have been bought. Those are the BMW i3s and the 6 Nissans as well, and incorporated into the CSIR fleet for use by their employees. Also, inkless printing and innovation laser technology. Tech entrepreneurs build complex technology and hardware products that are going to be used today and, of course, tomorrow as well. I mean, these are things that are what we are needing, and it happens all here at the CSIR. I want to talk a little bit to my next guests about some of these innovations and other work that's being done as well. Our first guest is Tanya Verloren van Temart. She's from Incubation and Acceleration Manager at Timocholong Precinct, and also Singapile Simelani. He's an Energy Autonomous Campus Program Manager at the CSIR. Good to have both of you. Thank you so much for being our guests.
Thank you very much.
And to you as well, Tanya. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so I'm going to get a little bit of explaining from everyone. Everyone here has got the longest titles I've ever heard of, so I need some explaining when you're in these fields. What is it exactly that you do?
So my role is Program Manager for the Energy Autonomous Campus Program at the CSIR. Okay. So the Energy Autonomous Program is basically a program where we're trying to get the CSIR off the grid in terms of energy supply.
So hence the introduction of these electric cars and all of these initiatives to try and get this place completely off the grid. And how are you doing?
Yes, so the electric vehicles play an integral part of the program. We have an ambition to turn the institution into a green campus, and that means that we also need to work towards changing our fleet into green vehicles, which is where the future is headed. It's the future.
Yeah. It is the future, and it's now. You know, it's not. We think we are throwing into like generations forward, but we're not, because it's happening elsewhere and it's happening fast, and we need to get there very, very quickly. How is South Africa doing? Obviously, you're just referring to the campus, to CSIR, but in general, South Africa, how are we performing?
The 3 major cities in South Africa, there's been a rollout. I know that Cape Town is leading at the moment. The number of electric vehicles that you get in Cape Town is the same as that you find in Joburg and Pretoria combined. There's a few around Durban, and of course we have some issues with infrastructure like your charging stations, and that has been the limitation. But I'd say that there is some growth in the electric car space.
Well, I do hope so, because I mean, you're finding some cities that are bringing in legislation around the world. We're saying they do not want cars on their roads by X amount. I think even, there's the major cities that have already implemented that, where they are refusing. They don't want them. They are going green. They're trying to protect the environment, and yet we seem to be lagging behind on that level.
Yeah, one of our role is to try and influence policy in that direction. That will help us a lot. There's carbon taxes, carbon emission taxes for some of these conventional cars that we use. That would maybe help us also to move in the right direction in terms of the adoption of the electric vehicles. However, some of these suppliers have also set themselves targets. I know that, like VW, for instance, they have some targets that by a certain year, say 2020, they need to be producing a certain number of electric vehicles. I'm hoping that in South Africa as well, we'll be getting a fair share of those electric vehicles.
I hope so too. And like I mentioned in the introduction, I mean, we've got our very own Elon Musk, who's creating waves around the world, and yet we don't even have Tesla here in South Africa, I suppose because we are just not ready to accommodate it in this market, are we? I know I'm throwing these questions at you. This is not necessarily your field of expertise, but it's all about the electric vehicles. It's about going green.
Yeah, well, I'll say that generally in South Africa, we are followers. Sometimes it's a good thing. They will make mistakes, and by the time it gets to South Africa, we'll have perfected our game, and maybe when we get those Teslas here, we'll be ready for those Teslas. So let's set up the infrastructure and wait for the future.
Let's do it. Let's do it, the very, very near future. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure chatting to you, and really, really interesting. Singapile Semelani, so talking about that energy autonomous campus program, trying to get off the grid. I want to chat to Tanya very quickly now. Tanya is working with Tshimologong Precinct. I want to know what this is. What's that all about?
The Tshimologong Precinct is this digital innovation cluster in the heart of Braamfontein. What makes it special is it's supported by Wits University, and it has a lot of corporate supporting it as well. So what we want to achieve there is to create the space where innovation happens, where digital innovation happens. IBM's research lab and their Watson supercomputer is situated in the space. We've got partnerships with some of the biggest tech companies in the world. So we are looking for entrepreneurs and innovators and disruptors to come into the space and to really look at building amazing technology.
Like what? I mean, give me an example of some of the things that have already come out of them.
So we are still quite new. We launched late last year, and we are currently running our first cohort with entrepreneurs, and they are graduating at the end of this month. So some of the interesting solutions that have come out are chatbots that help students with mathematics. So a chatbot is a machine learning type artificial intelligence solution that helps students work on their maths problems. And these type of things are happening everywhere. So Tshimologong wants to be at the forefront of these things.
That sounds amazing. When you talk about the students, where are they from? Where do you enroll some of these amazing students from?
So we're actually university agnostic, and you don't have to be a student to be part of Tshimologong. We're looking at anyone who has something to offer, anyone who has a creative, innovative idea. We're looking at the techies out there. We have an Internet of Things lab. We have a virtual reality lab. We have all these skills academies based around our space as well. So what we want to do is create the skills tech space of awesomeness in the heart of Braamfontein. We already have 3 buildings there. We work closely together with Wits to get some of their research into a commercialization aspect, and we want to build entrepreneurship. We want to create jobs, and we also want to create world-class technology.
How many students have you got currently?
We have about 40 who are in our cohorts, and then a whole bunch that use the space as co-working space. So anyone is welcome to become a member of the precinct and start working there, because you get this interaction with all the researchers and entrepreneurs and techies, and it's actually, you should come and visit us someday. We're in Braamfontein, and one of the coolest parts of the building is we took an old nightclub called Ink, and we changed it into our incubator.
Oh, you're joking. So I love that. I love that. And that'll get the youth there.
Oh, absolutely. So often I bring a new entrepreneur into the space, and I could just see their face and go, I used to come party here.
Like, oh my gosh, okay, I remember this place. I'm glad I don't remember it, thank goodness. Okay, so it wasn't in my clubbing days. So just tell me, if you, fees, funds, how much is this going to cost me?
So we've got various options. Depends on what you want. We also have sponsorships available for entrepreneurs who want to use our really fast internet and be part of some of our entrepreneurial programs. We're currently running programs with BCX and JP Morgan. We have a whole bunch of partners who are coming in doing programs to encourage entrepreneurship and encourage tech skills development. We've got hackathons in the mining industry. There's a lot of
There's so much happening.
I'm very excited about it.
And there's so much happening in this sector, and that's what's so great. Okay, Tanya, so what is that website we can go? Tshimologong.
So tshimologong.joburg.
.joburg. Tshimologong.joburg. So it's TSHIMOLOGONG.
ONG.
There you go. You see, that's why I'm getting this wrong here. Thank you. Okay, I've got it spelled very wrong here. So I think what we'll do is we'll just, when you come back to me, I'm going to get the proper website, proper spelling. Get on there. It sounds exciting. It sounds absolutely incredible. Tanya, good luck. Thank you for talking to us.
Have a good day.
Such a pleasure. All right, let's go back to Joburg. When you come back to us, we're going to take a quick walk around. I'm also going to get the proper spelling and website address for this so that if you're interested, you can also find more details on their website. Stay tuned.